U.S. military has conducted some airstrikes in Iraq and Syria against a group called the Kataib Hezbollah militia group. It is a group that is backed by Iran. And officials say the strikes were a response to a rocket attack on a U.S. military base that took place on Friday that killed a civilian contractor and injured 4 U.S. service members. Let's bring in Malcolm Nance. He's an MSNBC terrorism analyst to get more on all of this. Malcolm, what do we know of what's playing out right there in Iraq and Syria right now with the U.S.?
Well, what you're seeing has been building up for a long time. Ever since the Iranians had started backing Iraqi militias to help oust ISIS out of northern Syria, these militias have been falling under almost direct control of the Iranian Al-Quds force. This is one of their asymmetric paramilitary forces that does their activities around the Middle East. This group, Kataib Hezbollah, is backed by Iran. They are equipped by Iran. They're given weapons by Iran. And we have had a lot of concerns about their activities both in Syria and Iraq. They are not a terrorist group. They are an actual militia that was supported by the government of Iraq as well. And they are suspected of being the group that fired off, a couple of dozen rockets at our base near Kirkuk the other day, killing 1 contractor and wounding several service members.
So by way of us attacking this group, was this in essence a proxy attack on Iran?
Well, yes and no. This is where things get a little nebulous in the Middle East. We have been, since 2004, we have had clashes with Iranian-backed groups and militias in Iraq. For the most part, they were all assimilated into the government of Iraq or demobilized for a very long time. Only once we came in and started attacking ISIS and they went and the Iraqis did their major offensive against Mosul, these groups came back into play, very large militia groups. Yes, for Iran, they are a proxy group which carries out activities for the Iranian government, has Iranian military trainers, has Iranian military equipment. However, by us striking this particular group, that means we either have some intelligence that proves that this Iranian proxy group did this, or we could also be deceived because ISIS is still active in Iraq. And this is the kind of operation that they would revel in, which was carrying out an attack and making it look like the Iranians did it in order for the United States and Iran to start fighting in Iraq. This could actually prove problematic for us because if we start carrying out these attacks and start killing more Iraqi militiamen, then these other militias and even government forces could start being disturbed by our unilateral actions.
Yeah, following up on that, you get a sense then that this is not the end of this. There might be some retaliatory attacks that will take place, knowing this region.
Oh, no. Oh, no. This is not the end of it by far, because this is sort of opening a Pandora's box. Okay, on the other hand, I mean, I have been under rocket fire on U.S. bases in Iraq that were carried out by Iranian-backed militias back in the early 2000s, as well as al-Qaeda. These were just standard operating procedures. If you were in Iraq, your base got hit by 4, 5, 6 rockets a day. It was just, the way you do business. Since we withdrew from Iraq while we were fighting ISIS, these attacks just went away. The fact that they're back now is either Iran sees some value in stirring up the United States because they don't hit us just for fun. They hit us as part of a strategic plan. And it could draw us into a tit-for-tat shooting war with these militias, which we could lose the popular support of the people and the government of Iraq, thus pushing us out of Iraq permanently. So it has to be handled very delicately.
And we have to remember that Iraq has been the scene of plenty of democracy protests. The government is on tinderbox right there in Iraq for this to happen. And the timing is interesting as well, Malcolm, because Russia, China, and Iran were holding their first ever joint military exercises this weekend. Interesting timing. Gonna have to leave it there, though.
It's very interesting.
Malcolm Nance, appreciate your analysis there.